Another busy, crazy day in New York City. How we doing? Evan and Tiki on the Fan. There is plenty to discuss. We got an update from the winter meetings. Brian Daboll didn't mess around. He's already announced who his quarterback's going to be on Sunday. And Aaron Rodgers has a lot to say about the decrepit franchise he's employed by. Look, my man Joe B knows he probably shouldn't reveal text messages he's getting from Robert Saleh. But let's not miss the biggest issue in all of this. Robert Saleh is trying and has tried to do something that other executives and other managers and other coaches have done successfully in this town. And that's just manipulate the media.
What do you mean manipulate?
I mean, get people on your good side, have a relationship with them, and have them toe the company line. And you are naive out there if you don't think that's been done successfully in this town before. And Robert Saleh, who's not a very good NFL head coach, he's not very good with the media, nice guy, he tried to manipulate the unmanipulatable. Because one thing about Joe is he doesn't give a rat's ass about having access. He doesn't give a rat's ass about making his name bigger. Back when we did our show together, he didn't even give a rat's ass about the ratings. He cares about the teams he roots for. And Robert Saleh having a relationship with Joe, and by the way, Robert Saleh having a relationship with a lot of people in this town, thinking he can manipulate them, doesn't work with a guy who only cares about the team he roots for. And that's the thing I take away from this. He really thought, I'm going to get Joe on my side. I'm going to have Beningo defend me. Are you crazy?
I don't think he was trying to get Beningo to defend him.
Of course he was.
Okay, so let's characterize Joe real quick. What is Joe Beningo? He is a super fan, right? Mm-hmm. He had a voice to the other Jet fans in this town because he was on WFAN for a lot of years, and he was beloved, emotional, the highs, the lows. You felt it in every single moment, right? And if you're Coach Saleh, having a relationship with one of the biggest fans and one of the most vocal fans, why is that a bad thing?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you do it correctly, you get the media and some people off your back. I'll give you a specific example. I ain't going to mess around. Buck Showalter was never criticized for the 2 years he was here. He had the media guffawing at every joke he made at his post-game press conferences. And at first, we all laughed along. And then as time went by, you said, what the hell's going on? Buck played the New York media brilliantly. He wasn't the first. He's not going to be the last. So what Robert Saleh has attempted to do with not just Joe, let's not be naive about it, is manipulate the New York media. The problem is he's not good at it. Buck Showalter was damn good at it. Bill Parcells was damn good at it. Robert Saleh, much like coaching and much like quarterback decisions, he's not good at it. And so he tried and he failed because Joe B's the most unmanipulating person in the world. He only cares about his team.
I think it's more than that. I think not more, I think it's less than that. And because the whole thing that matters, especially in this town, is winning.
Yes.
And if you win, who cares what Joe Beningo says? Honestly, who cares what we say or anybody on the radio or any of the fans? If you're winning, all of the nonsense, the negativity doesn't matter. It just kind of goes away. So you can't fault Robert Saleh or any coaches. Now, I remember when Pat Shermer became head coach. I was in Minnesota covering the Super Bowl. He called me. I'd never talked to him before, but he called me. He was like, "Hey, what's happening? Just wanted to say hello. Want you to come around, be back in the organization, do some." It was kind of cool, right? And look, I'm not covering them locally because I was on the national show at that point. But I think coaches just inherently want to have relationship with people that they're around.
Well, first of all, you're different in this regard because it would be smart to know and talk to you, not even as a radio host today in Afternoon Drive, but as a guy who played in this town and a guy who understands the organization and also the ups and downs of playing in New York. So I think in this case, you're far different than trying to have relationships with opinionated hosts on the radio.
Yeah, but I think where Joe gets in trouble is, meaning with Saleh and with the national interpretation of this interaction, is that he's trying to interpret what Coach Saleh is saying via text message.
No,
my bad.
Look,
Right?
he messed up in that regard.
Right?
I give you that. But my point
But so
is,
you can't, just because he misinterpreted, Joe doesn't mean that Coach Saleh is in the wrong for having a relationship with him.
What I'm saying is, even though it doesn't get the same attention because it doesn't come out in a clunky way like it did yesterday, this has been going on forever. Coaches in this town, GMs in this town, some guys will admit it, they like to have relationships thinking, not I want to give you a scoop, but I'll get them on my side.
Yeah.
You see this in the media all the time. It's why when I first started around here, I made a decision very early on, and maybe it was the wrong decision, by the way. You can get on me for it. I said, I don't want to have relationships with coaches and GMs in this town. And here's the trade-off. The trade-off is, I'll be perfectly honest with the audience. I'm not going to come here and give you sources and, I'm going to break news for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play around. I'm not going to lie to you. Didn't want to do it because I know as a human being, once you start having relationships with people, it starts to alter your thinking.
Well,
and I'm not above that. That's why I decided 15 years ago, I don't want to do that. So my decision, you can rip me for it and say, Evan's stupid move. You should have been buddy-buddy with Mike McCagnon like half the people at this radio station. You should have been buddy-buddy with John Idzik. Maybe you'll get a scoop. Hey, I don't want a scoop.
Yeah.
I really don't. Well, I'm not a newsbreaker. I want to react honestly to everything I see. And what coaches and GMs have done forever in this town, and Robert Saleh is just the latest, is, well, if I can have good relationships, maybe they'll repeat my company line. Maybe they'll come out and say, the coach didn't really do this. The coach really didn't say that. And he tried that with Joe, but Joe isn't going to play that game because he doesn't care.
But I also feel like the relationship, it's a luxury to not have relationships with people because then you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
And you don't feel like you're offending anybody. But I think having relationships also allows you to get the actual story because sometimes things get convoluted.
By the way, you're right about that. That's why I say to you, and I'll let you continue, I'm not telling you my idea was the right idea.
No.
I'm saying this was my thinking around the idea.
I mean, I commend you for it because it allows you to react like a fan.
Yeah.
Just like with Joe. It allows him to react like a fan. But I think sometimes when you're too close and you take someone else's information, in this case Robert Saleh's, and then you spin it with your own opinion, it gets convoluted. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, he said this to me, but I'm interpreting it like this, not knowing the full context of it. And so I can't get on Robert Saleh for that. I can't get on any coach for wanting to have a relationship with the media members in this town because, look, they affect public opinion. We affect public opinion. If we say it enough and it permeates every single level of WFAN, guess what? Everybody who's watching or listening, it becomes the truth.
Hold on a second. So what you're explaining to me, and be honest, because I think this is what you're saying from the other side.
Yeah.
See, we're going to have a discussion right now where I'm coming from the side of I don't want relationships with anybody. I want to be honest. Forget Tiki Barber, the radio host. Tiki Barber, the football player, knew exactly what I was saying, which is if I have good relationships with some in the media, they're going to hear my side and maybe reveal my thinking. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think it's different because I remember when I was playing. Let me jump back when I was playing.
Go ahead.
I was always available to media, always. In fact, at training camp, I wouldn't, like most guys would eat like in 30 seconds and go sleep. They wanted nothing to do with the media. The media would come in after. I'd sit there. I'd sit in the lunchroom, wouldn't go take a nap, just kind of hang out and have conversations. Because if someone was going to write something about me or our team, I wanted them to get it right? I wanted to tell me what your opinion is on this. Okay, this is what I actually think about that. So it was more of a, I hear what you're trying to write, but you're wrong on how you're writing it type of thing. I wanted to correct the record, right? And so it wasn't me trying to get close and manipulate. It was just me trying to have my voice present. Now, it's changed so much in the last 15 years because of social media. Like, guys don't actually need to talk to reporters anymore. It's why you see very few of them have relationships with reporters anymore. Because if they want to get something out, they just, all right, I'm going to put this out on Twitter, right? I'm going to put this out on Instagram. I'm going to show my emotion, my reaction via the network that allows me to do it. I don't have to talk to the media member. So therefore, the media they get pushed to the side at times. So I actually commend what Coach Saleh and others are trying to do, other coaches that do this. or players that are still engaged with media members on a close level. I commend them
Tiki,
for trying to get the story from the media correct.
I commend them for trying to do it, but Robert Saleh, like his coaching, has done it badly. He's done it badly.
Why? Because Joe revealed that
Because you were never going to get, of all the people on this radio station or in this town who's in the quote-unquote media, the last person that was going to give the message you want out there because you go golfing with him is Joe Benigno. He was the last guy. It was never going to happen. And by the way, the reason that they ever had a relationship, and I think Joe has said this on the air, is he sent him a T-shirt of his podcast name.
Yeah.
And
the Pain.
The Pain. And Robert Saleh is a good dude. Like, I'll rip his coaching. I'll rip his ability or attempt to manipulate the media. But I'll never say he's a bad guy. He's a great guy. He called Joe back immediately and said, I appreciate the T-shirt. And that's how the relationship started. They weren't set up some way. It wasn't somebody saying, let's hook up. And I think Robert Saleh saw an opportunity. Guess what? You didn't know New York well enough, Coach. Joe Benigno, say what you want about him. And if you want to rip him today for revealing Robert Saleh's text messages, fine. He shouldn't have done it. We get it. But the one thing about Joe is he cares a hell of a lot more about his team that he roots for than having good favor with the head coach of the Jets, who, by the way, is temporarily the head coach of the New York Jets.
Everybody.
Just like everybody is. Yeah. Exactly. That wasn't a straight knock at him. That's everybody. Joe was a fan before Saleh. He'll be a fan after Saleh. I was a fan before Saleh. I'll be a fan after Saleh unless I drop dead in the next couple of months, which, God willing, I don't. So he tried, and he failed. There are some in the media you damn well you can manipulate. I'll be the first to tell you. That's probably why I made that decision 17 years ago. You could manipulate me. Oh, Evan, you look so pretty today. Oh, Evan. But I knew I don't want to do that. So I don't knock you. Well, you're not a good example because you're a former athlete, and I think it's different. I don't knock anyone else who says, I want to have a relationship with the GM of the Jets. I want to have a relationship with the GM of the Giants. Maybe I'll get some inside info. God bless you. But understand what comes with that. What comes with that is maybe you're going to be manipulated.
Yeah,
and Joe B is the most unmanipulating guy in the history of the world.
I don't think you're going to get manipulated.
Yeah,
I think you're just going to get information that other people aren't privy to. And it gives you context.
And then what do you do with that information? Like all these reporters who break NBA stories, they give the narrative that the person who gave you the info wants it to be.
Yeah, but
that's why Woj, when he tweets out NBA news, comes from the team perspective. And when Shams tweets out his info, he comes from the player's perspective. Because as great as they are at breaking news, they're in the pockets of the people that provide the news. Let's not be naive. That's what's going on. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. The only person scratching my back is my damn wife.
I've lost on that one.
I thought that was a perfect analogy.
It was. But look, here's the only thing that matters with this is pertains to Coach Saleh and Joe Benigno. Joe has a relationship with Robert Saleh because it's cool to have a relationship with the head coach of the team you root for, right? It's just kind of cool. It's neat. Oh, that's kind of awesome. I can send him my opinion. Whether or not he responds, favorably, not unfavorably, who knows? But it's kind of cool that I can express myself to the coach and he will write back, right? Coach Saleh has every right, and I don't think he's trying to manipulate media. I think he's just a good guy trying to have a relationship with one of the biggest fans in this market. I don't think he's consciously saying, Joe Benigno, he was on the midday and he was afternoon. He could influence people's opinion of me and the team and this team. I'm going to manipulate. I don't think that's what it is. I think he just struck up a genuine relationship with Joe Benigno.
Yeah,
and Joe let it get out of hand. Honestly, that's what it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like Robert's in the wrong or Joe's in the wrong. It's an unfortunate series of events. Honestly, I think it'll go away pretty quickly.
Well, it'll go away because we'll be on to our new controversy. Like Tim Boyle already got caught. I mean, he was starting days ago, and now his ass is nowhere, and Brett Rippon is the new guy here. I think the next big news cycle in this soap opera known as the New York Jets is A, who's the quarterback on Sunday, but then B, Zach Wilson has to respond to things that have been reported about him.
Yeah.
And things that have been said about him, rightfully so.
That's the bigger story. Is that, does Zach really not want to play football? Because you heard me yesterday. That does not sit well with me.
No,
and
I
I'm
don't
not
blame
even,
you for it.
And I'm not even in the locker room.
I don't blame you
So
for
if
it.
you're in that locker room, I need an answer. Like, because I haven't heard a strong denial.
No, because there is no denial. Here's the only
false.
denial you're
Yeah.
getting. The only denial you're getting is a guy like Saleh saying, well, he didn't say it to me. And the Jets putting out their spin of, well, no one said it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the reality, and it goes back to the whole rumors and reports and leaks. Somebody told The Athletic, and whether you want to believe her story or not, Diana Rossini's a good reporter. Zach Rosenblatt's a good reporter. They did not decide, let's make up a story about the New York Jets. If you believe that, you must work at One Jet Drive. They didn't make it up. The question is, who told them that?
Yeah.
Was it somebody in the Jet organization leaking it to make Zach look bad? Was it Zach Wilson's representatives putting it out there? Because that's how they think Zach feels, or that's how they feel. But this idea that it's just not true, it's BS, it's made up. No, it's not made up. It's just a matter of who put that story out there.
Yep.
Who decided to let that be known to the world? And whether they thought it was going to make the Jets look bad, to some, it makes Zach look bad. To most, it should make Zach look bad.
No, I mean, if it's Zach's, and again, I'm not saying this was Zach's thinking or idea, but I do believe that people have been advising him not to play. And Robert Saleh kind of said that yesterday in not so many words by saying it didn't happen here, basically. He didn't deny it, but he didn't say it wasn't true. So Zach can't look right or good no matter how you look at it, right? Because you shouldn't be having that conversation. And if you have people around you telling you, hey, man, you don't play, it's not good for you, you need to fire them immediately or get them out of your professional existence. They can be in your personal life and do all these branding and everything else that you want to go. But as it pertains to being a football player, that person is bad for your existence.
No doubt.
Right? And if it was a player trying to make, or a coach trying to make Zach look bad, then that tells you all you need to know about Zach's opinion, people of opinion of Zach in that locker room. Right? And I can't, who else would it be? I mean, it's got to either be a player or it's got to be one of his agents.
Aaron Rodgers had a strong opinion about this leak. We'll hear what he had to say coming up, plus why last night's football game makes the Jets look bad again, and Brian Daboll's made a quarterback decision. We'll get your calls coming up, 877-337-6666.